Game 3 of this best-of-7 opening round series as the two big guns, Sundin, get set to go toe-to-toe with Yashin on the ensuing face-off. Controlled at their own blue line. The puck is set ahead by Dmitry Yushkevich. Rides the rail up the near boards. Roberts stops on a dime, coughs up the puck in the corner. They'll reverse the flow of the play where it's picked up along the far wing boards and sent ahead back out to center ice. Back to get it, Danny Markov rims it around the near boards. Roberts bumped hard along the wing. Slap shot taken by Yashin, sails wide. Well, it appears as though, Neil, the Sens are going to come out hitting.
They have to. They've got to match up physically with this team. They were out-bumped, out-muscled, and outplayed in Game 2 back at the Corel Center in Ottawa.
Lacroix wanted the return pass out front. He was too well covered. Good read by Dmitry Yushkevich to roll off the block as he inadvertently throws the puck outside the playing surface.
Well, let's take a look at Patrick Lalime, the goaltender who's playing his third ever playoff game in the National Hockey League. He had a brilliant regular season. And there you see what he's done so far in the playoffs. Not quite what he wanted, 0-2. Down at the other end, of course, the guy who is a rock in front of the net, Cujo. Ottawa and the Ottawa fans trying to figure out how do we solve this guy. 72 shots have been launched at him, 73, pardon me. Stopped every single one of them. 2 shutouts now in the first 2 games. But Chris, you know, they didn't get a lot of traffic in front of this guy. They've got to get more traffic in front of Curtis Joseph. He's one of the top goaltenders in the National Hockey League, and you're not going to score on a top goalie in the National Hockey League by letting him see the puck.
There's a guy I know you're very familiar with, Pat Quinn, in behind the Toronto bench.
Pat played for these Toronto Maple Leafs many years ago and made a devastating hit on a man who's in this building who we'll talk about.
All right, puck rolls free into the corner, scooped up and sent across by Matt Sundin. Out of their own zone, Maple Leafs chip it into an open area. Cutting over to get it is Curtis Lasician. He'll step aside from Gary Roberts, who lost an edge. Wires a pass out to center ice off the instep of McCabe, and out of the net comes Cujo. Along the far board, Andreas Dackel plays the puck into traffic. Give and go pass, and Dackel throws it wide. Back to the line, slap shot taken by Salo, rides the rail up the wing, and Thomas Carverlay will send ahead to Steve Thomas. Minute 20 seconds gone in a scoreless first period. And it's pretty evident the Sens are going to bring it from just about everywhere on the surface.
Well, the Senators are hitting, and the Leafs aren't hitting as much as they were in Game 2 when the Leafs came out and just bashed Ottawa around. There you see Jacques Martin, who has the worst winning percentage of any of the playoff coaches involved in the playoffs. Jacques, an excellent coach for the Ottawa Senators, a great coaching staff with him in Roger Nielsen and Perry Pern, but certainly doesn't have the record he'd like. And at the other end, Pat Quinn, who's number 2 all-time in playoff wins of the playoff coaches who are currently involved in the playoffs, behind Scotty Bowman.
Senators finished with an impressive mark of 48, 21, 9, and 4 during the regular season, second best in the Eastern Conference. Meanwhile, the 7th-seeded Toronto Maple Leafs fumbled their way into the playoffs at 37, 29, 11, and 5. Out of the corner, centering pass down low, scooped up with the defense, and taking refuge in behind his own net, Jamie Rivers, who has been inserted into tonight's lineup.
Well, he gets put in, he gets put in on the concussion to Rickard Persson, who went out in Game 2 with a concussion, and thus allowing Jamie Rivers to see some action here.
Along the far boards, Magnus Arvidsson would send out to center ice. He, too, was a game-time decision coming into this game. And back to get it is Corey Cross. Much more methodical start to this game for the Toronto Maple Leafs as they motor their way in over the line on a slap shot by Berezin. Caroms off the base of the boards, out to center ice it comes, and Alfredson will send ahead. The result here is going to be a whistle and an icing call against the Ottawa Senators.
Well, take a look at the series recap here. There you see it. Ottawa with the big goose egg in goals, out shooting Toronto as they did through last year's series in number of the games. Interestingly enough, Chris, in last year's Battle of Ontario that was won by Toronto in 6 games, the team who was outshot won every game.
You know, I also want to bring up another stat. In the first 2 games, Toronto has 72 hits. Now, in the first 2 games, Ottawa has 76. Now, as you well know, during the regular season, you must separate a man from the puck in order to get credit for an actual hit. Is that still the case here in the postseason, or is there just that postseason factor that guys are hitting everyone and separating people from the puck?
I think that they're hitting a lot more in this series. This series in the first two games in the Corral Center was a lot of hitting, especially by Toronto. There's not nearly the physical play by the Leafs here in their own building that there was in the Corral Center up to this point. We're very early, 3 minutes into the game, and it's probably natural to come out in front of your own fans a little bit nervous, a little bit tight. You really want to play well. These fans haven't been happy with the Leafs this season. They sure are happy now, though, with them coming home 2-0.
And you bring up a good point I want to get to in just a moment as Curtis Joseph brings it around the near boards. It's swatted back out to center ice by Darcy Tucker. So if the Sens are going to make those necessary adjustments that you spoke of, I would think it would have to be much simpler to do so on the road as opposed to doing it at home.
Absolutely. A lot of things are a lot easier on the road. You can play a lot uglier.
Here they come. Tucker back to McCauley, just out of his reach. Oh my! Lalime coughed it up at the top of the crease. It's still loose, but the referee has lost sight of it. Looked like a very innocent play, but Lalime couldn't find the handle.
Well, Patrick Lalime right now is looking up at the ceiling of the Air Canada Center, thanking somebody way up there that puck didn't go in the net, because an early goal was scored yesterday, or rather 2 days ago, by Berezin, which was kind of an easy one. Had that puck gone in, that would have been another soft goal. Here's the little soft dump by Tucker that finds its way all the way to the net, and Lalime should easily have this covered up, but he doesn't. McCauley bats at it. The aggravant Ty Domi comes in kicking around at it. Look at this. McCauley swats a couple of times at it. The Ottawa defenders are quite surprised that he doesn't have the puck under his glove. And because the defenseman for the Leafs came in past the hash marks, or past the top of the circles rather, we've got a face-off outside the Ottawa blue line.
You see Patrick Lalime, far different numbers in the win-loss column away from the Corral Center. And behind his own net, surveying the situation, Curtis Lasician. He'll send to the right wing boards, and Salo will volley out to center ice. Pass ahead, chipped off the stick of Jonas Höglund, and behind the net, Senators. Lasician sends to Dackel, and Ottawa forces a pass into the neutral zone. Back they come. Dackel treated along the near boards, and the puck is swept aside by Danny Markov. Stepping up at center ice, turnover. Look out here, Yashin. Stepping up, drops it down low, and it just hopped over the stick of Andreas Dackel. At the line, wrist shot by Rakunik, rides the rail up the far wing boards, and the Senators will regroup at center ice. Shots on goal, dead even in the game. 15 minutes and 30 seconds to be played in a scoreless first period.
Well, remember that this period's really important to the Ottawa Senators for the simple fact that during the regular season they were a plus 38 in the first period of the regular season, meaning that they had 38 more goals over the entire 82-game schedule scored in the first period than their opponents. So this team played with a lead going into the second and third period more often than not.
Well, it has to be extremely frustrating for them as well, beyond the obvious, Neil, is the fact that despite being down 2-0 in the series, they're only -1 now in the opening period through 2 games.
Exactly. This is Ottawa's got to be frustrated about a lot of things, but when you think back to the first 2 games, had the Ottawa Senators scored the overtime goal in game 1 rather than the Mats Sundin blast that we saw, this whole series would be turned around. They didn't nearly play as well in game 2. They were nervous, uptight, very, very tight. They let in an early goal. But this series is 2-0. Toronto coming back here. And now you sense a bit of tightness on the Toronto Maple Leaf side.
I'll remind the folks at home of the graphic. You saw that plus-minus differential in the opening period that Neil was talking about. Plus 38 for the Ottawa Senators and their road Reds. The Toronto Maple Leafs +1 in their home whites. As the puck is sniped into the corner, and Salo gives a little peek over the shoulder, he'll send up the wing. In the high slot, puck banked off the near boards by Roberts, looks for support from Sundin. Big bump by Roberts along the near boards. Cross is able to hold the line. Thomas on an aggressive forecheck in the corner. Frees up the puck along the backboard. Sundin neutralized there by Lasician. And the Senators are content to take off the heat. Out of the net, ventures Curtis Joseph. He'll play it into an open area. Hopping on a loose puck. Rob Salmon, a shot and a save. Plays all the way back out to center ice.
Toronto's playing loose hockey here, Chris. They're not nearly as tight and strategically tight as they were in games 1 and games 2.
Zamaner has Mike Sillinger hovering out front. He's dislodged from the puck in the corner. Back to Zamaner it comes. Out of the corner, looking for an option. Alfredson back to the line. Jamie Rivers a shot. We have a delayed penalty coming up in the game. Puck squirts free in the corner. Senators touch. We get a whistle with 14:09 to go in the opening period. And our referees, Don Koharski and Stephen Wacom, will sort it out.
Well, it wasn't hard to tell who was getting the penalty by the booing going on in the building here, but as we see referee Steve Wacom go over to the penalty box. I'm sorry, it's not Steve Wacom, it's Koharski. Why I said Wacom, I don't know. But it's Rob Zamner, and it looks like goaltender interference on this. Skating, maybe trying to throw some interference at Curtis Joseph, as we talked about early in the show. The one thing they've got to do is get in front of him, irritate him, get him off his game. This is a guy that stopped 73 shots, so I'm sure Rob Zamner trying to get in there and do something to distract Curtis.
Well, check out this. You'd have to go back to 1945 for the last time a Toronto netminder tossed 3 consecutive shutouts. You know why they called him ulcer?
No, why did they? I have no idea.
Well, believe it or not, he was exempt from the draft because he had a series of ulcers and was not able to serve in the service. So consequently, he had a chance to play. I'm trying to remember the name of the incumbent goaltender at the time. But he, in turn, was sent off to war. So Turk Broda was the goaltender.
Turk Broda was a goaltender. Turk Broda went off to war. And Frank McCool got the 3 consecutive shutouts in the playoffs back then, when things were a lot less scoring going on than now. Of course, we've seemed to have reverted back to that lately, especially in this series where it was a 0-0 tie going into overtime. Matt Sundin won game 1. There's a good shot of the Turk Broda banner. They've got great banners in this building, don't they, of the old days of the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've honored a lot of their heroes from way back in their history.
And why not? What an illustrious history it has been here in Toronto. What do you think of this building compared to the old Mark?
Well, it's fantastic, and the people love it. You hate to see Maple Leaf Gardens go away. It's a place I saw my first NHL game, but certainly this is a beautiful building, great sight.
So power play hockey with Zamner getting the gate for interference at 5:51. 0 for 5 thus far in the series on the man advantage. Maple Leafs survey the situation, sent down low. They got a man hovering in the slot. It's Berg. He'll step up, drift off. Here's the pass down low to Berezin, chipped aside of the defense. Wide side feed. Dmitry Yushkevich will rim it around the boards. In behind the net, failing to hoe, is Nick Antropov, and the Sens will whistle the puck back out to center ice. Crossing the line. Puck in the corner. Yannick Perreault spots an open man. Antropov sheds one man. Plays a game of catch in tight quarters. He's got Berezin on the near side. Caberlet in the high slot. Off the wing, Caberlet slow and responding, and look out here, the Senators shorthanded bid. Sillinger busting it over the line. His shot handcuffs Curtis Joseph, and he had no idea where the rebound was.
He lost that completely. That's one that went by him. He didn't know if that was going in the net or into the stands.
Here comes Caberlet. Watch the return pass, and Jason York took the body and knocked him off the loose puck. In behind the net, Lasician's bank pass, corralled by McCabe at the line. Long, dipping, shot, he scores! Well, McCabe took the shot. Sundin was in the vicinity, but regardless, it handcuffs Patrick Lalime. And once again, the Toronto Maple Leafs have registered the first goal of the game.
Well, we talked about this in the opening, Matt Sundin, and how important he's been. Look at that, right beside the net, a backhand tip past Patrick Lalime. Brian McCabe shot that puck purposely off to the side of the net. Here it is right here. There's the wrist shot. Gets it right through, and Sundin on a backhand tip. That's what the Stars do, folks. They can get you in the lead, and leaders are supposed to lead by getting big goals. Matt Sundin comes up with another one.
But you know what I love about that play, Neil, is the fact that McCabe had an option. He could have went off the wall, but he stepped to the inside and found a lane to throw the puck towards the net.
They're throwing everything at Patrick Lalime now. They want to get this guy with a lot less playoff experience, get him on edge, and they're doing that with goals like that.
Matt Sundin with a power play goal, his second of the series. 1-0 Toronto.
To center where that man, the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Mats Sundin, has got his 24th career playoff goal. His second goal of this series, and the Leafs are leading 1-0.
Well, Jacques Martin talked this morning about taking the crowd out of the game. Not so here tonight. Power play goal, Sundin, 1-0 Toronto lead. 12:15 to be played in the opening period. Caberlet sends up the near wing boards, dug out in the neutral zone, and Yashin will gear up from his own blue line. Quick exchange, brought back in over the line. McEachran drops it off, loose puck in the slot, played down by the Leafs, not out. Big reach of Yashin pays dividends in behind the net as Alfredsson gets wrapped up in the corner. Danny Markov staying with Alfredsson stride for stride, and you can start to see the frustration kick in along the far wall. Slap shot from the line, blocked down by Curtis Joseph as Wade Redden leaned into one from the point. Shane Corson is able to work it through a maze of players out to center ice, and the Senators, in the midst of a very sloppy line change, will regroup inside their own zone.
Well, that Senators line that just went off the ice of Yashin, McEachran, and Alfredsson have got to provide the offense for this Ottawa club. During the season, Chris, 96 goals between the three of them. They can't come up with a goose egg again tonight, or the Ottawa Senators will be out on the golf course.
Ty Domi taking a rare shift here in the opening period as we get set to take another look at the difference in the game.
Here it is right here, and what you like about this goal is Brian McCabe had the chance to go off the boards back, but he took a little step out to the side right here and shoots it purposely wide, and Sundin comes up and deflects it. Watch this as Sundin comes around behind the net. Now see that? And a backhand tip, and a beauty. How many players can tip the puck off their backhand, Chris? I mean, you see one all the time in Paul Kariya, but not too many players can do that.
Oh, quick shot glove by Lalim, and he will hang on. But you know, Sundin, he's been leading the charge. He's on the front page of the newspaper this morning saying this was the moment we've been waiting for.
A lot of people in Toronto, and I'm from Toronto and come here a lot of people doubted Mats Sundin's leadership ability. They doubted Mats Sundin whether he can lead this Toronto club to anything substantial. Can he get them going anywhere? Can you win with Mats Sundin? Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, from the first 3 games here, you certainly can.
Out of the corner, big bump doled out by Ty Domi, rolls off that bump, centers on the doorstep, and Jamie Rivers steps into the passing lane. Lalim wants a whistle as once again a hornet's nest ensues around the Ottawa cage.
Well, Patrick Lalim smartly covering that one up to get another whistle in his own zone and try to settle this Ottawa Hockey Club down. They're nervous. They were extremely nervous in game 2, and that goal that went in by Sundin, that replay you just saw, isn't going to help. There's the man that's got to get things settled down, is Jacques Martin. As we said in the opening, he's a good coach. He's one of the best coaches in the league. But you can feel a tightness with this Ottawa club, and especially after that goal. They've got a goaltender in the net that's in his 3rd ever playoff game. They've got to believe in him, and they've got to get something past the guy at the other end.
Face off to the left of Patrick Lalim in a 1-0 hockey game. Toronto leading. False face-off. They're going to try it again. A lot of question marks, though, as to why the Senators elected not to go through the skate around this morning. According to Jacques Martin, just wanted to give the players a chance to relax today and save their energy for the game.
Well, if they win, it was a brilliant move. If they lose, he'll be criticized. That's just the way it goes in Ontario.
And Yuskevich will send ahead, brought in over the line. Igor Korolev bumped hard in the corner. In behind the net, nifty move, Hovland. He'll bank it down low. Corson sets the roving pick. Hovland takes over along the near boards. Senators will try to chip off the glass, and here comes Daniel Alfredsson back the other way. Alfredsson busting in over the line, slap shot, run! Rockets one wide, rides the rail up over top of the glass and into the crowd.
Well, there's Alexei Yashin. He's had 5 shifts so far, and on 4 of them, who's been out there? Shane Corson, number 27 on the Leafs, and on all 5 of them, his buddy from Dynamo Moscow's been out there, Dmitry Yuskevich.
And we welcome you back inside the Air Canada Centre here in Toronto, Ontario. Chris Madsen alongside Neil Smith calling the action, where the Toronto Maple Leafs have jumped out to a 1-0 lead on a power play goal by Mats Sundin. Brian McCabe picking up his first assist. Time of the goal, 7:12, as it's brought in over the line. Slap shot taken. Save Lalim. Fat rebound and drop off. Coincidental contact, and the puck ends up along the far wing board. Dave's getting a little bit chippy on the wing as it's brought up over the line at drop off. Looking for support. Sees none. Makes the wise play and throws it in down low. 9:55 to be played in this opening period. Swipe pass down low. Salo. Loose puck scooped up and sent ahead along the near boards, trying to chop it free as Martin Havlat, and it rolls back to the blue line of Toronto. Barrison, a game of catch. Thomas Camerley at center ice coughs it up. Delayed penalty coming up, but as it is touched by Yashin, we get a whistle and a stoppage in play. Penalty upcoming. Power play hockey when we return. You're watching the Leafs and the Sens. Stay with us.
Canada Center, where the Toronto Maple Leafs have a 1-0 lead, and they're about to go on the power play because young 19-year-old Martin Havlat gives a little bit of a smack there to Sergei Berezin, and the referee says in the box for 2 minutes, so Toronto goes on their second power play.
Oh, look out. That hit the glass flush and shatters on impact. And just like that, out come the maintenance engineers. Face-off spotted out in the neutral zone. Head-to-head this season against the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Senators scored 3 shorthanded tallies. Boy, check it out. Almost 3 hours of hockey for the Ottawa Senators without a goal.
That's a long, long time to go without a goal against Curtis Joseph.
I'd say that's a
you know for sure your confidence is down when you can't score a goal in almost 3 hours of hockey.
Here comes Garland, and over the line, big bump by Redden. Loose puck in the corner and behind the net. Thomas watches as the play develops in the right offensive corner. Redden gets sandwiched in between a pair of Leaf players. It's gingerly set up the near boards and then dug out and batted out of midair and sent back the other way by Mike Sillinger. 30 seconds to go on this power play advantage. Just under 8 minutes to be played in the opening period. Lone goal in this hockey game occurred on the power play when Sundin tipped in a wrist shot taken by McCabe. Drop pass and drop off. Bank pass to the line. Berg swings it across. Here it comes. Yuskevich down low, and Berezin shanked it wide. Hammered off the glass by Salo. Berg holds his ground. Senators regroup and send ahead, and for all intents and purposes, that'll do it for the second power play. Teams are back at full strength. Berezin brings it. It's blocked down along the backboards. Big bump doled out by Jamie Rivers. Out of traffic, York leaves, and the puck is scooped up by Radek Bonk. And you talk about a welcome addition to the lineup. Bonk is back.
Bonk is huge for this team. He's had a great season, but he's another guy that's got to do something in the playoffs. He's got no goals in his 22 career playoff games.
He and Yashin in the midst of horrible scoring droughts in the postseason. Rakunik sends to center ice. Havlat on the follow-up. Rakunik will drive it right back in deep, and out of the net comes Curtis Joseph. Shots on goal favor Toronto 5-4. They lead by 1. Alfredson drops it off for Yashin. He's double-teamed, and look at Shane Corson draped all over the back of Alexei Yashin as we get a whistle.
Excited to be in the playoffs and has played extremely well in these first 3 games.
You know, Neil, I saw you walking up and down the buffet line today. You moved more up and down that line than Havlat did out in front of the net. Off the wall it comes, around the horn. Lalim leaves on the wing, and back the other way they come. Wade Redden. Here comes Alfredson. His answer to the power play earlier today, let's simplify. But right now they're having trouble making that A to B pass. On the wing. Pass forced into traffic. And it gets back to that opening goal of the game. Jacques Martin said, you know what, our guys, all they got to do is shuffle across. Just take a sidestep. Find an open seam like McCabe did.
The confidence isn't there. That's what's lacking in this Ottawa team right now. The confidence isn't there. As we see Toronto shoot it back down the ice again, much to delight of these hometown fans. You know, confidence is an awful, awful big friend of yours when you're on the team that has it. And right now, Toronto has all the confidence and Ottawa has none.
You're right, Neil. It is swelling here inside the ACC, and this crowd can sense it. Darcy Tucker trips his man up in the corner. Loose puck along the backboards. Crashwood back off as he tries to pick up his man Bonk in the corner. He'll try to force a pass to the line, and that leaves Rakunik in no man's land. 45 seconds left on this power play advantage, and Neil, through the first 3 minutes and 15 seconds, they have a single shot on goal.
4-minute power play has a momentum swing one way or the other. It always is. If you do score on it and you're the Ottawa Senators, you shift the momentum in your favor. If you're the Toronto Maple Leafs and you kill the 4 minutes, you keep the momentum in your favor. So a 4-minute power play is a huge momentum swing.
2:40 to go in the opening period. Hustling down the puck, Mike Fisher in the corner. Dug out along the far boards and sent out to center ice by Gary Roberts. 5 seconds left, and this crowd is supercharged, many of them on their feet, as Joseph will make the save, and that'll do it. Time expires on the 4-minute power play advantage. Well, Mike, if there are any skeptics going into this playoff series, and I know there are many here in Toronto, I think there are very few left right now.
Well, that bandwagon is easy to jump onto when it goes by you, and there's certainly a lot of people in this town have jumped right on, and with good reason. It's 1-0 here in the first period with 2:23 to go. First game number 3, the first game at the Air Canada Centre, and their Maple Leafs are headed towards a commanding 3-game lead in this series, 3-0. Now we're up to 184 minutes and 27 seconds. When I went to school, I don't know about you, but when I went to school, that's over 3 hours.
Right, 3 hours, 4 minutes and 27 seconds. You can put away your abacus now, Neil, as the puck is sent out to center ice.
I went to school in Toronto, too, and that's Toronto time.
So if we convert it back in the U.S., do we take 40% or do we add 40? I'm not certain. Back the other way it comes. Brought in over the line, obvious 2-line offside pass, and we will have a stoppage in play. So Toronto leading 1-0 as we remind you tonight on ESPN2 at 10:30 Eastern. It's St. Louis at San Jose, and what about young Evgeny Nabokov? He shut out the Blues in Game 2. Now it's time for that man, Teemu Selanne, to get started. ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC, your home for all the NHL Stanley Cup playoff action.
Well, there he is, Curtis Joseph, the man known as Cujo. Started his career with the St. Louis Blues, signed as a free agent. Curtis Joseph never drafted into the NHL and has certainly been a tremendous goalie in this league. Traded from the St. Louis Blues to the Edmonton Oilers and then signed as a free agent by the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, that's a great story. Proof positive once again. If you want it bad enough, it's out there. Alfredson in the corner. Loose puck dug along the near boards. Bears it. Game of catching tight quarters, and out it comes to Nick Antropov. He'll gain the line. Suck and drag move to the outside. Losing an edge in the corner, though, was Yannick Perreault. He goes down in a heap, and we'll get a whistle and a stoppage in play.
It hit a glove over there on the Ottawa bench. Somebody had their hand over the side of the boards, and that brings the face-off. Just should be outside the Ottawa bench. I don't know why they're bringing it back into the Ottawa zone.
Speaking of face-offs, there's one of the finest face-off guys in the National Hockey League, Yannick Perreault, right there.
Well, he's not only one of them, he is the finest one according to the stats during the regular season, leading the NHL in face-off percentage at 62%. Yannick Perreault, and Yannick Perreault also, for all you GMs that are out there watching, and if you don't know this, you should, is a total free agent at the end of the year.
Loose puck along the near boards and sent in deep. I got a feeling you might get a few phone calls. Banked high off the glass, batted down by Danny Markov. He'll float the puck right back in deep. Sent cross ice, and Wade Redden will chip into an open area. Dmitry Yushkevich cuts to the loose puck. Danny Markov with a roving pick on Andreas Dekel. Turnover inside the zone. Senators cannot play the puck up the slot. They elect to send it down low into the corner, and Yushkevich looks for support right up the middle of the ice. Back the other way, Shane Corson. First shot in on goal, and Lalime, with a man crashing down the slot, will hang on and take the whistle with 52.5 seconds to go. Hey, we remind you to stay tuned following this first period for the Southwest Airlines Intermission Report. Join John Buccigross and Ray Ferraro for the Southwest Airlines Intermission Report, featuring showdowns between the Hurricanes and the Devils, a Raymond Bourque update, and Ray Ferraro on the West. A lot of people are interested about a status report on Raymond, whether or not he will play in Game 3 of that series with Vancouver. It's all coming up momentarily on the Southwest Airlines Intermission Report.
Well, Ray Bourque goes for try number 22 at chasing the Stanley Cup. What an unbelievable career Ray Bourque has had.
I know a couple of nights ago, he said he was actually ready to go, but Bob Hartley elected to hold him out 2 more days. Swipe pass by Sundin down low. Look at Roberts. Turn is Mansalo inside out. Gary Roberts with a magnificent move, and he throws it into the crease of Patrick Lalime.
Getting back to the Ray Bourque story, we talk about Ray Bourque, and of course everyone remembers what a great defenseman he was for the Boston Bruins. How could you not remember that? It's during the he just went to Colorado last season. There's a man in this building that actually is the best defenseman ever to play for the Boston Bruins, probably the best defenseman ever to play in the National Hockey League. We saw him this morning at the morning skate, and that's Bobby Orr. I was talking about Pat Quinn earlier. Who can forget, unless you're not old enough to have seen him, the great hit that Pat Quinn put on Bobby Orr during the Boston-Toronto series in the Boston Garden. It was scary.
Slap shot, save Lalime. Scary rebound. Roberts mishandles the puck into the corner. Thomas neutralized by Bonk, but supported by Sundin. Wraparound attempt. Cut off on a terrific back-checking play by the Senators, and out they come. Aaron pass, Arvidsson rolls to the far wing boards, and we're down to 15 seconds left here in the opening period. Giving chase, Corey Cross. Reddick ball to the rearview mirror. Salo forces a pass up the ice, and the Maple Leafs will send it free to the red line and chip it in deep. That ought to do it for this opening period, and the sellout crowd at the ACC is on their feet. Gary Roberts and the Toronto Maple Leafs with a 1-0 lead through 20 minutes of play. The Southwest Airlines Intermission Report coming up.